There's some common mistakes around exercise that you might be making that is causing you to not reach the health goals you want, whether it's to put on more muscle or, even more importantly, lose some of that extra weight. So let's dive in and look at some of those. First of all, I don't need to cover the mistake of not exercising at all. We all understand that we need to get moving, and if we're sitting all day at work and then we're sitting on the couch at night, none of us are going to be shocked if we're putting on weight where we don't want to. But most people who want to go and lose fat, the first thing they start doing is they add cardio. They start walking, and then they start jogging and running on the treadmill, and then they might join a gym and they start not just running but biking and doing spin and doing all of these things. And you will initially lose some weight. Of course, you're now actually moving and burning calories, so you're burning more calories than you were before. But it is not the best way to get to weight loss by doing cardio, and in fact, you will hit a plateau fairly quickly in there. So if you're someone who's lost a bunch of weight, but you're struggling to lose the last 10 to 20, 30 pounds no matter how clean you eat, if you're doing a lot of cardio, it could be that. Now, cardio exercise is very important. I think everyone should be doing it every day, but it's really good for blood flow, for stress relief and mental health, and for oxygen supply and lung capacity, but it's not very good for weight loss. So use your cardio as a consistent daily thing. You don't even necessarily always have to set times to go to the gym and do cardio. We should be getting up and moving frequently throughout the day, which is another mistake that a lot of people make. They think they're going to be able to sit all day and then go pound away for an hour at the gym and that'll undo all that damage. But you're actually better off doing a whole bunch of small 3 to 5 minute sets of exercise, or ideally a couple of walks and things like that. Now, go to the gym as well, but if it's the option of one or the other, it's the little breakups during the day that'll do it. So in a perfect day, you might go for a walk in the morning, go to work, and every hour you might set an alarm and get up and do 3 to 5 minutes of exercise, maybe some jumping jacks, some push-ups, some squats, just some body weight exercises. Then maybe go for a walk at lunch, especially to get outside. Then you might each hour still get up and do your 3 to 5 minutes of other activity, and then go for another walk when you get home, or a run, or go to the gym and do it that way. Now you're going to get the best of both worlds. But if you want to lose fat, you can't just rely on that cardio. You must lift weights as well, because the more muscle we put on, the better we're going to burn fat, and it gives your immune system more energy that it needs to keep you healthy, which is then going to stop you bloating, because you're going to have more inflammation, because you're going to have more viruses and parasites and things like that within your body that is going to keep driving that. So that's another part to keep in mind too. If you're eating very clean, you're doing a lot of exercise, including lifting weights and trying to put on muscle, and you still feel like you're bloating and holding on to weight and fat where you don't want to, then you almost certainly have either some underlying biotoxins like parasites, candida, mold, something like that, and or some unresolved emotional stress. That can also keep you trapped in a nervous system state where you're going to put on fat because your body is in fear. And one of the things that it's going to want to do, like back many, many years ago when there was stress, was normally when we're coming into winter and we're going to run out of food. So we have that fat storage mechanism. So anyone who's under high levels of constant chronic stress, they're going to put on fat where they don't want to, around the belly or around the hips. So that's a couple things to look at there. Now, to get the best of both worlds, where you want to put on muscle and you want to improve your lung capacity and your VO2 max and blood flow and all of those things, that's why high intensity interval training or HIIT training is so popular. And I love doing that. I use that multiple times a week. You don't want to do it every single day though. You've got to mix it up. You want to have some days of just lifting weights, some days of some high intensity interval training, some days of more longer cardio. And the cardio can be 3 or 4 hours of non-stop walking. You could go for a hike with the family somewhere or something like that. And then you always want to have a day off to stretch or just really not do as much. But the reason you don't want to do high intensity interval training every day is it's creating a lot of stress on the body, and all exercise is creating good stress, but you can overdo it. And especially if you're someone who is chronically stressed, or you're dealing with a chronic health illness, maybe thyroid's completely shot and you've found out that you've got a gut bacterial infection, or maybe you're dealing with parasites or heavy metal toxicity or Lyme disease. any of those things, if that's you and you find that no matter how much you work out, you're still holding on to stubborn fat around the belly and what we call central obesity, then my recommendation would be don't do any high intensity interval training for 30 to 60 days. Just lift weights and just do light cardio with more focus on the weights. So lift weights 3 to 5 times a week and do 1 to 3 days of light cardio. Just a light, steady jog, a light, steady bike ride, walking the dog for an hour and a half, go for a hike with your family, something like that. And you will probably find that the weight will start to come off. And that's because your body's already under too much stress with all the health conditions that are there. Then as you remove some of those root causes and you deal with the parasites, you deal with the mold, whatever else is there, then you can go back to the high intensity interval training. So just keep that in mind if you're exercising and not getting the goals that you want to achieve. Now, if you've got questions on this, always comment below. And before you go, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more videos we do on these topics.